Alright, so now we're going to try and actually solve the problem and put this into practice. These steps 1 through 5 are going to help guide you as you are actually working through the problem. First off, read the entire problem and you're going to determine what information you're being given. Hint, guys, you're always going to be given Q squared, which is your homozygous recessive. So when I go through here, I like to highlight all the important information. Here, it says 64% of the population of squirrels is gray, 36% is albino. And then it tells you that albinism is expressed only in homozygous recessive individuals. So right there, you are given your Q squared. Now this is given as a percent, but we want to actually put it, convert the data into decimals. So you're going to move the decimals over 2 places, and 36% is also 0.36. Okay, so right here, 36% of the population of squirrels is albino, so Q squared, 0.36. Now, you are always going to work the problem in this order. Once you know your Q squared, you can very easily find your Q. So you're going to take your calculator, and if you're working homework problems, here you go. You have 0.36. We need to find the square root of it, so you press that little button there, and you're given 0.6. So the square root of Q squared is 0.6. Okay, now remember, if you go back up to your equation, P plus Q is always going to equal 1. Okay, so that, remember, you only have 2 alleles, they have to equal 100%. So if our Q is 0.6, 1 minus 0.6 would be 0.4. And hopefully you don't need a calculator for that one. Once you know P, then you're going to find P squared. So you go up to your calculator, we're going to clear this. We have 0.4, and we're going to square that. So you press this button here. P squared is 0.16. So write this in. Now we can figure out 2PQ since we know P and we know Q. So 2 times 0.6 times 0.4. Let me find this. 2 times 0.6 times 0.4 should equal 0.48. Okay. Now you can double check your work so you know if you did this correct or not. P plus Q, 0.6 plus 0.4 equals 1. That should be correct. Now we're going to add P squared plus 2PQ plus Q squared, and that should also equal 1, which it does. So you have all of these answers now, but we actually need to figure out, does it ask us, where's the frequency? All right. We actually need to figure out what all of this means and corresponds to. Now remember, these little variables here actually mean something. Homozygous dominant is actually going to refer, if you remember up here, to your P squared. So P squared up here is 0.16. To actually figure out the frequencies of this, move the decimal back over 2 spots and you have 16%. So 16% of the squirrel population is homozygous dominant, and they're going to have the dominant trait, which is gray fur color. Okay, now our heterozygous one, if you guys remember, 2PQ is heterozygous. So we go and find 2PQ, and that's 0.48 or 48%. And even though they're heterozygous, they're going to express the dominant trait, so they also have gray fur. And lastly, we should already know this one from the get-go. Homozygous recessive is our Q squared. And so we go back here, and it's 0.36 or 36%. And normally after this, we're going to know that they are going to be recessive, they're going to be albino. And after you've read the entire equation, or sorry, the entire problem, it's going to ask you at the very end for a specific genotype or phenotype or ratio or frequency that it's asking for, and then you will actually solve for that one. You already have everything, so if they're looking for what's the frequency of the dominant allele, well then you could actually add these two together and figure that out. All right, we're going to try and get you guys to do some practice problems on your own now.